Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, back in the studio after an insane trip back from Key West, Florida. What should have been a 2-hour plane ride turned into a 12-hour ordeal. It was insane. You may have heard about the high winds alert surrounding the Philly airport. Well, not only was our plane delayed by a couple of hours, we were one of the hundreds of planes that got diverted away from Philly. We ended up landing instead in Baltimore. And then we were stuck in the tarmac for over like 2 hours waiting for a gate to open. And then after another hour, we were told that the plane was grounded and that American Airlines would pay for a taxi to get us back to the Philly airport. I mean, it was absolutely insane. All told, it was about 12 hours for a flight that shouldn't have been much more than 2 hours. Just insane. But we're back, and all of us are so back, and even the legacy media is having to admit it. Take a look at the latest poll coming from RMG Polling. This is crazy, gang. Number 47 is clocking in at a 55% approval. It's a plus 12 approval rating. It gets better when you compare it to the same RMG polling from last week. Trump's numbers are going up significantly. Last week, he was polling at 51% approval, signifying a plus 6 approval. So his approval rating was 6 points higher than his disapproval last week. That plus margin has now doubled in the course of a single week. So make sure you get the calculus here. The more people Trump fires in D.C., the more his approval ratings go up. The more illegal migrants he deports, the more his approval ratings go up. The more the Democrats and the legacy media double down on their woke stupidities, the more his approval rating goes up. And even the legacy media is admitting it. Here's John Carl of ABC.
Donald Trump's favorability rating is actually higher than it ever was the first time around. Let me ask you, a recent poll by Marquette looked at several of the things that he has done or says that he is going to do. 60% favored deporting immigrants who entered the United States illegally. 59% favored declaring emergency at the southern border. Is there anything you are seeing that Trump is doing that you are in favor of, that you think is the right thing?
Let me say, as it relates to all of those issues, we're just at the beginning.
Yeah, that was Hakeem Jeffries, the minority leader of the Democrats, doing his best to stumble through a non-answer, doubling down on his absurdities. You heard Carl. It's not just RMG. ABC's polling is showing Trump's favorability is now officially higher than it was in his first term at any point. And you saw the numbers for his policies they're overwhelming. We're talking supermajority stuff here. 63% want the government to recognize only two sexes. 60% support deporting all illegal aliens. 60% favor expanding oil and gas production. 59% support declaring a national emergency at the southern border. Again, we've been talking a lot about this of late, but this is very important for us to understand in terms of getting this new conservative age that's rising and why it's rising. This is the new MAGA supermajority that we're seeing. These are the kinds of supermajority numbers you get when you redefine politics vertically as opposed to horizontally, the way Trump is effectively done. So horizontal politics, remember, is a politics defined by a left versus right divide, Democrat versus Republican, liberal versus conservative. And in that divide, the Democrats, they were masters at imposing wedge issues like taxing the rich or women's reproductive rights or exploiting racial issues or LGBT issues that always kept us a 50-50 nation. By the way, the right was doing it as well. They would always exploit pro-life issues, whatever it is, just to kind of keep us this 50-50 split down the middle, as it were. There were many on the left, however, who actually liked America First policies. There was an extensive study that was published by Breitbart back in, I think it was 2018, 2019, that found that about 70% of the public was basically America First in their politics. They wanted the borders closed. They wanted manufacturing, industrial jobs returned back home. They wanted to celebrate our cultures, customs, and traditions rather than denigrate them as racist and bigoted and phobic and the like. About 70%, they found, were America first in their politics. But the Democrats were masters at exploiting wedge issues that effectively separated the political left from the political right and chipped away at that support by distracting voters with those very wedge issues. But when you effectively redefine that political divide vertically, as President Trump has done, when you redefine politics according to a people versus the corrupt political class, the ruled versus our despicable, out-of-touch rulers, then that 50-50 split collapses. And you have more of what we're seeing in these polls. Some are calling it the new 80-20 rule. So you have a supermajority forming, and it gives this new administration a massive mandate where on average 70 to 80% of the public openly supports what Trump is doing, whereas the Democrats are doubling down and aligning themselves with just 20 or 30% of the voting public. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. And it gets even better. Politico actually took a little break from the USAID funds that they get to push their pathetic pro-establishment propaganda to actually publish a very good piece explaining how Trump was able to effectively recalibrate the electorate from a horizontal to a vertical divide. And it gives us a very clear window as to why we can expect this divide to be the new normal in the politics of the future. But first, gang, as you know, we look out for each other here on this channel, and your health is our #1 priority. So if you are one of the 100 million Americans struggling with all the weight gain and loss of energy that comes with a fatty liver, you have got to try Liver Health Formula. It's an all-natural supplement. It contains 12 clinically proven botanicals that helps recharge and protect your liver. It's manufactured right here in the USA and approved by independent American doctors. And if you click on that link below now, you could try Liver Health Formula and receive a free bottle of blood sugar formula when you order today. So don't let a fatty liver keep you sluggish and inactive. Click on that link below or go to getliverhelp.com/Turley and claim your free bonus gift. That's getliverhelp.com/Turley. Now, a very interesting insight to all of this is how Trump was able to effectively recalibrate politics around this vertical divide of the people versus the political class. And that's where a fascinating piece out from Politico offers some interesting insights. It's entitled, "Democrats Concede, Republicans Running Circles Around Them Online as Trump Remakes Washington." And by the way, click on the link in the description below to get all these articles and tweets I reference throughout my videos emailed to you each and every day. You're going to love it. We want you to have the best resources out there to convince your family and your friends of this new MAGA super age that's rising here. So this Politico piece starts off by noting that DOGE, right, the Department of Governmental Efficiency, started its own X account literally just weeks ago. And it's already amassed over 4 million active followers, informing them every hour of a stream of news on contract cancellations and other cuts to the bureaucracy. Musk himself is posting relentlessly on his own channel with over 100 million followers on the latest updates on what DOGE is accomplishing each and every day. By contrast, and again, this is Politico is admitting this, by contrast, the Democrats, who right now, frankly, nobody cares about, literally, and I'm going to show you that in just a moment, nobody cares about, they started their own rapid response account on X, and it barely has 100,000 followers. Again, literally no one cares what the Democrats have to say because it's just so patently absurd. And that's what more and more Democrat operatives are admitting to their horror. Trump and the MAGA movement have absolutely crushed the Democrats with the online communication wars. The info wars are being overwhelmingly won by Trump and Musk and what is often referred to as the rise of the new tech right. Now, for me, this is one of the most fascinating developments of late because I'm sure many of you know, I mean, up until this point, let's be blunt, it was always the Democrats and the political left that were ahead of us when it came to the online communication wars, right? I mean, think back in 2012. We have stats that show that Obama's campaign team was posting back then on Twitter every 15 minutes or so on Obama's campaign account. Whereas Romney's team was lucky if they tweeted out once or twice a day. It was always the younger, hipper, political left that seemed to have this massive advantage online. What we have to understand to really appreciate what's happening with this rise of a new conservative age, what we have to understand is all of that left-wing advantage online has radically changed. It's flipped. And it's flipped precisely because of the rise of what's being called the new tech right. So this is a group of ultra-wealthy, ultra-innovative Silicon Valley tech pioneers who are all in on building a new civilization's world dedicated to faith, family, and freedom. They despise everything woke. They tend to be very libertarian. Many are very traditionalists, like J.D. Vance. Vance, in many respects, embodies the bridge between the new tech right and the traditional right, the tech right and the trad right, as it were. Being born and raised in Appalachia, being a traditional Catholic, he embodies the trad right, and of course, making his money with Peter Thiel in the tech industry, he embodies the tech right. So the tech right and the trad right come together in many ways in the person of J.D. Vance. But of course, the new tech right involves Elon, who purchased Twitter, Vivek Ramaswamy, Peter Thiel, Balaji Srinivasan. Because of these guys, and because of just this new tech right movement as a whole, we are now the masters of tech. We are now the masters of tech. And the rise of the new tech right has given rise to what's now being called techno-populism. You got to get that. It's very important. Techno-populism involves the myriad of dynamics wherein technological innovations like social media platforms and cryptocurrencies and AI are all increasingly freeing populations from the establishment control of industries like the liberal legacy media and woke banks and fact checkers and the like. So technology, as we're finding out, is increasingly emancipating more and more populations from the old liberal industrialized institutions that comprise the managerial class that ran the old liberal modern world. Just think, for example, of the myriad of ways in which Bitcoin and crypto are in effect creating a wall of separation between finance and the Fed, as it were, right? Between currency and the state. And thereby represents the ultimate source of freedom, because if a government can't control your money, then they can't control you. And just to show you how this all wonderfully comes full circle here, who besides Elon Musk has been on the forefront of building alternative communication networks? Anybody hear of a platform called Truth Social? Right? Who's responsible for that? The one and only President Donald J. Trump, number 47. That's who. And why did he build Truth Social? Because Jack Dorsey's Twitter and Mark Zuckerberg's Facebook canceled and censored him. That's why. So if status quo Democrats wanted to maintain the edge they used to have on social media over the Republican, or better, over the new rising MAGA movement, they should have thought twice about suppressing President Trump. Or think about why Elon Musk bought Twitter for $44 billion, precisely because he believed that Jack Dorsey was assaulting free speech and thus impeding a thriving civilization. The irony here is that in the end, establishment Democrats the legacy media and the like, they only have themselves to blame for losing the online wars. Their short-sighted persecutions only ended up guaranteeing their own eventual demise with the rise of a new techno-populism and a new tech right. So all of this is to say that literally a new society, a new social order is rising that's leaving the Democrats and the legacy media behind. And by leaving them behind, the old horizontal politics of left versus right that they exploited with their wedge issues has dissipated. And a new vertical politics, a politics of the people versus the permanent political class, emancipating themselves from the old liberal industrial institutions, has powerfully and effectively emerged. That is what's really behind the incredible success of Trump and the MAGA movement. And that success, my friends, looks like it is just beginning. Hey there, Dr. Steve here, and I got a question for you. What if you could go back in time and get in on the Bitcoin era when it was still just under $1? Or buy a prime real estate before the market exploded, say, in Manhattan? Or invest in a company like Tesla before the whole world caught on? Well, that's exactly where we are right now. The parallel economy is exploding like never before. New financial opportunities are opening up, and those who see the shift and take action early are the ones who will prosper the most. That's why I'm hosting a live 90-minute event on February 27th called the America's Golden Age Summit. Now, I'll be joined by some amazing expert guests who are going to show you how to position yourself for massive success in this new era. But even better, what exactly to do in this new era. It's a truly one-of-a-kind, game-changing event. Click the link, grab your spot, and be a part of America's Golden Age Summit. Do not miss this chance to get ahead. I can't wait to see you there.